GothamGeekGirl here, and it's time for another review. We're going to talk about the highly anticipated Superman, DC Studios' first feature film to hit the big screen this summer. I'm going to keep this spoiler-free. Fans have been anxiously waiting for the title or character to return to the big screen. You know, this is a brand new start for the fresh DC universe from DC Studios heads Peter Safran and James Gunn. Gunn produced the film, and he also directs the film from his own screenplay. Fans have been wanting a return to a more lighthearted, warm, and wholesome Clark Kent. We get it. I'm going to say that I didn't love this movie. There were parts of it that I loved, parts of it that I didn't, and I don't think it's a masterpiece in any way, but it is highly entertaining. It's a much more happy-go-lucky superhero film. It's a complete 180 contrary to the highly divisive take of The Man of Steel in 2013. Essentially, James Gunn does what he does best. Captivating and colorful world building. It's beautiful. There's lovable characters, there's aliens, there's a heartfelt story that embodies the spirit of Superman. It truly captures the soul of Superman. But he gives fans exactly what they wanted. Is that enough? Since when does fan service replace good storytelling and a good script? Superman's full of excessive exposition, unnatural dialogue, one-dimensional villains, and the same beats we've seen over and over. Guardians of the Galaxy 4, basically I called it Guardians of Metropolis. It doesn't take itself serious. I'm going to get more into that shortly. When Superman gets drawn into conflicts at home and abroad, his actions are questioned, giving tech billionaire Lex Luthor the opportunity to get the Man of Steel out of the way for good. Will intrepid reporter Lois Lane and Superman's four-legged companion Krypto be able to help him before it's too late? The film is set to release this Friday, July 11th, 2025, in theaters and IMAX. It's going to release internationally beginning July 9th, and it's distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. So that was a synopsis. The film stars David Corenswet. He's from Twisters. He's in the dual role of Superman, Kal-El, Clark Kent. Rachel Brosnahan from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult, who's already been in comic movies in X-Men. He's Lex Luthor. So first, let's get into what worked. It's beautiful, it's stunning, there's world building. You know, if there's aliens, Gunn is gonna explore different worlds. The creatures, we're gonna throw in some kaiju animals and cute babies. Krypto's adorable, and the casting really is fantastic, aside from the poor dialogue. The cast really is terrific. We get a longer look at the Fortress of Solitude, Superman's personal retreat in icy remote headquarters in the Arctic. The fortress offers sanctuary and houses alien technology. It also houses the memory of his real parents, Juror and Lara. It's also pretty exciting to see who played his parents. And this isn't the first live-action appearance of the Fortress of Solitude. It has appeared in Smallville, Supergirl, Superman and Lois, Krypton, and in the 1978 Superman film and other media. It also was in Man of Steel, but it wasn't the traditional format. It was more of like a scout ship. So I really love the way Gunn focused on this. I love the way he explored the fortress and its tech. It was awesome seeing Superman Robot number 4, who surprise role was Alan Tudyk, and the automatons that assist Superman, most likely inspired by All-Star Superman. The animatronics looked great. The film follows Clark Kent, Superman's journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his adoptive human family in Smallville, Kansas. We know his origin story. This is a fun, colorful, brilliant take that restores the hope that, you know, Man of Steel didn't really have, and I get it that this is needed. Clark Superman is driven by compassion and the goodness of mankind, so Gunn really nails that. The film takes inspiration from the comic book All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Whiteley, which ran from 2005 to 2008, and it received critical acclaim for its emotional story, characterization, writing, and artwork. The series revolves around Superman. He's dying due to overexposure to Earth's sun, and it features many heroic feats and attempts to make peace with his imminent death. The origin of the series started with Morrison's desire to tell us timeless Superman story that wasn't an origin story but followed a classic narrative, All-Star Superman, and it really sums up who Superman is at his core, a man who wants to help the people and do what's right. This is what the film solely focused on, though. You know, it gives fans a Superman that's more reminiscent of a Silver Age goofy, glory, and vulnerable, self-aware Superman with a strict moral code, and it serves as a humanitarian role model. David Corenswet embodies this as Clark Kent. He's vulnerable, he has his strict moral compass, and he leans into his core values of truth, compassion, and justice. Like I said, we all know the origin story. He's a survivor from the destroyed planet Krypton. He lives on Earth, he has his family, he has his secret identity at his day job, working as a journalist for the Daily Planet in Metropolis. Gunn said that he wanted Corenswet's Superman to be like around 25 years old. He's more established than Tom Welling's version from the beloved Smallville, but he's younger than Henry Cavill's version in the DC Extended Universe. And Clark is becoming successful as both a journalist with his job at the Daily Planet and as a superhero. Corenswet drew inspiration from Clark in the comic that I mentioned, All-Star Superman by Morrison and Quitely, and also the posture of Christopher Reeve's portrayal from 1978 to 87. And he definitely embodies the Christopher Reeve spirit of heart. I do believe that Corenswet brought justice to the character. I really do want to see more of him. I did see like a flawed and vulnerable man. We saw layers to his character with his relationships. He's in love with his colleague Lois Lane. He tries to make friends with other superheroes who thinks he's naive, and he is, because he puts too much trust into people. And the film really explores how these elements impact Clark's values and choices, which are flawed, and put him on his personal journey. Additionally, Pruitt Taylor Vince and Neva Howell, who respectively play Jonathan and Martha Kent, Clark's adoptive human parents, they truly felt wholesome. They felt mad country, small town American, and they did a great job developing their Kansan accents in the film. They were lovable, and they had really like an earnest, sincere connection with Clark. I also loved his connection with Lois. It was so natural. The two really sold the iconic couple. Amazing chemistry. Lois felt like a real, actual reporter. And I love this. Rachel Brosnahan described Lois as fiercely intelligent and feisty. At CinemaCon, we learned that she consulted with several journalists to help her portrayal of Lois as a modern reporter, contrasting with the character's original comic appearances and previous on-screen portrayals. I loved how important her character was. I thought she was one of the strongest characters in the film. I honestly thought her and Hoult were the ones that held the film together. Although I think Nicholas Hoult was drastically underutilized, he was the one who like demands the screen as Lex Luthor. He essentially saves the movie as the ruthless, intelligent, and iconic supervillain, the CEO of Luthor Corp. He's, you know, Superman's well-known arch nemesis. He hates Superman for having the power that he can do anything, but doesn't align with Luthor's own beliefs. Hoult described Luthor as obsessive, determined, and relentless, and wanted the character to feel like a credible threat to Superman. And he absolutely does. He's a genius. He already had his end goal in sight, his motivations by many emotions, including a need to be recognized for his scientific genius. So he was inspired by Michael Rosenbaum, who we love as Lex Luthor in Smallville, and by billionaire Steve Jobs for Luthor's uniform, choosing to work on the role, also based on the depiction of Luthor in All-Star Superman. So his son shaved his head in preparation for the role to give him the look. He took inspiration also from Brian Azzarello's comic book series Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, and Jerry Siegel's reckless scientific genius version of Luthor in the comic books from the 50s and the 60s. My only issue with Hoult is that he whined way too much, and it started to read like Trump satire, which is great and all, but it's so overused now, and Lex is much smarter than that. He's way more composed than that whiny clown. I can't wait to see more of this character explored through Hoult's performance, hopefully with less yelling and tantrums. I swear to God, the movie was nothing but yelling. And I really like Skyler Gisondo as photojournalist Jimmy Olsen. He was a perfect comedic relief that felt more natural than any of the other characters' forced dialogue and humor. He was also important to the team and served a purpose. He had a decent amount of screen time and was one of my favorite characters, to be honest. Every time he was on, we were glued. And I wonder if we'll ever get his Signal watch at some point. Superman fans know what I'm talking about. And of course, there's the lovable Crypto. He gets a little bit too much camera time, but it's super cute. Like I said, it's childlike. It's definitely more family friendly. It's wholesome, and we haven't really seen that before, so it is fun to see him. And we're surely going to see more of him in the upcoming Supergirl film.
You have a dog?
Some of the other characters had elements that worked or felt completely out of place. Eddie Gathegi, who's Michael Hoult, Mr. Terrific, he's a superhero and inventor. He uses a variety of high-tech gadgets and fight crime, and is a member of the Justice Gang sponsored by Maxwell Lord. We may get a little Easter egg in the film. Mr. Terrific had impressive gadgets, vehicles, and weaponry. There's some funny moments, some jokes that hit, some that didn't. He was very one-dimensional though, and his voice was low-key blaxploitation to me. I really didn't like the suits. I hated the hair of him and Guy Gardner. I get comic accurate, but I mean, it's 2025, for real. They were campy, especially Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. While Mr. Terrific has a much more prominent role in the film than Gardner, the Justice Gang felt pointless and completely unnecessary. They didn't need to be in the film. It felt more like an effort for Gunn to just build a team format, and it essentially takes away from Cal. Isabela Merced as Kendra Saunders. She's Hawkgirl, but she's basically the same sarcastic character Dina from The Last of Us. And don't get me wrong, I love her, but she's barely in the film and she just has a lot of contrived dialogue. And that's essentially back to my point of the poorly written script. Most of the characters come off really dumb-witted. They have insanely terrible dialogue. A lot of the conversations don't feel natural. There's so much exposition. Every single conversation is dragged out, yelling, unnatural. Nothing feels natural. There's far too much comedy. There's no balance. There's no danger. Gunn doesn't let anything marinate. None of the kills matter. They don't even address it. Like, thousands of people had to have died when, like, all these buildings fall, and there's no mention. It's a little too Love and Thunder for me, to be honest. There's too much comedy. It's overkill. There's no ramifications. There's no story. It's a muddy, convoluted plot. It plays it safe. It's not that original. People don't want to admit, but Snyder already touched on the immigrant experience. It's clearly taking inspiration from the genocide right now in Palestine and Trump and the current political climate, which is fine. But Gunn doesn't explore the pain, the suffering, the oppression. He just glazes over it with children. It's derivative. It relies heavily on music every 5 minutes and imagery. It's fan service. The movie's purely fan service. Music by John Murphy, you know, who worked on Suicide Squad. And the score elements of John Williams' classic Superman theme from the 1978 film, and a new music interpretation by Murphy. So some fans will notice that the trailer had already incorporated the classic Williams thing and Hans Zimmer's Man of Steel theme, but it literally beats the music into you every chance it can. It was just ridiculous. It's frivolous, it's heavy. I had a loss of engagement halfway through the film. I was checking my phone to see the time, see how much was left. The fighting scenes are decent, I'll give it that. There's definitely, like I said, a lot of Snyder references, and I'm not gonna lie, Gods Among Us. And there's a scene I love where Soup goes off crazy, but I just wish there was more fighting, more repercussions, more action, more danger. Lex saved the movie. There's too many characters. We didn't need the Justice game. Overall, like I said, there's no balance. It's straight humor. It's a PG kids movie. It's predictable. It's just lighthearted. It's geared towards kids, which doesn't automatically make it good, doesn't automatically make it bad, but what doesn't work is its poor script. Like I said, it's just too much exposition for me. Everything has to be explained, every single scene, and then when it changes into the next scene, you just have the theme music playing again, and it didn't work for me. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will say it's fun. It's a fun family movie. Take your kids. Absolutely go see it in IMAX. But if you're expecting a Nolan level film, do not. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And the film is in theaters July 11th.